How do dreamers, thought leaders, paradigm shifters change the world? They have to ask themselves this one question: am I willing to chase my dreams? If you want to know how to push the boundaries of your influence, impact the world, and live out your God-given dreams, then this is the podcast for you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Passion and Prestige podcast. I am your host, world changer, dream chaser, and all-around nice guy, Teron Nolan. Today, we are talking about your story. We all have a story, but what kind of story are you writing? How are you spending your life? And how will your story be remembered? Hey, let's talk about it.
They just wanna knock you off the top, but I ain't gonna drop till I say so, till I say so, 'cause I say so.
I've always been fascinated with storytelling. It felt like a secret power that some people possessed. When I was a kid, I absolutely hated going to church, which was a huge problem because we were always in church. I didn't like the music or the theatrics, but as soon as the pastor would break into one of his epic stories, no trial or tribulation could have separated me from what he was saying. It wasn't just what people were saying, it was how they were saying it. The words they chose to use, the ways that they could transport you into the exact moment and make you feel the same things they felt, even though you had never experienced it. To me, storytelling was magic, a special connection between the creator and the created. And I was all in. I've always heard that there is no greater power on earth than a story. I can understand what they're saying. I mean, the first words in the Bible are the introduction of the greatest story ever. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. Without story, there would be no life. And without life, there would be no stories. When I was in the 4th grade, my teacher took us on a field trip to visit the Museum of Tolerance. At that time, we were learning all about the Jewish concentration camps and the horrific evil millions of Jewish people endured at the hands of Hitler and his Nazi regime. My eyes were open to a painful part of history. I couldn't believe that these stories of punishment were actually real stories. My heart was set on fire, and I was transported to the secret hiding place of Anne Frank and her family. If you have never read The Diary of Anne Frank, you need to do that. I never knew that someone's story could cause an earth-shaking amount of empathy to fall out of me. For those of you who have never been to the Museum of Tolerance, let me just say this. It's an experience that will change you forever. An explosion of empathetic emotions. From the beginning to the end, your heart will experience the enormous impact hate can have on the human spirit. You will walk away changed forever. As soon as we entered the main section of the museum, each student was given a key card with a stranger's face printed on it. No information, just a face and a name. I can still remember the intensity of the eyes staring back at me on my key card. The black and white photo, old and worn, but those eyes, they seemed to scream at me, begging me to free him, begging me to keep his story alive. As we walked through the museum, there were different stations where you would scan your card in exchange for some details about your person's story. I learned that my assigned stranger was a 9-year-old boy who was separated from his family and sent to Auschwitz concentration camp. I didn't learn much else about my young stranger's story. There were no other details, no information about his favorite colors or what he wanted to be when he grew up. His story just ended. I still remember the eyes of that little boy stuck on that key card. I swear I've seen those eyes in hundreds of people throughout my life, all silently pleading for the same thing, that their story would live on, that their light would shine long after they were gone. It got me thinking, what kind of story are you writing? In this great book called Life, your page is of the utmost importance. It's vital. What's your contribution to this world, and how will you title your existence? Will the sum of your life be summarized in a sentence, paraphrased and then forgotten? Or will your story outlast the moon and stars? Caught in every constellation, every moment, behind everyone's eyes is a cry that screams, please, please remember me. Tell my story and make sure they live on in the laughter and the impact. The universe is made up of stories, not atoms. Never forget that. I wonder, when Adam was covered with leaves and would whisper sweet stories to Eve, did he ever dream that his story would still be told? No matter how new or old, your story is important and shows that we are all connected, bound by the spine of time and covered by life. A drop of ink on the table of contents, so write a great story. Your struggles provide context, and when the climax of your life has come and gone and your conclusion is in the distance, how did you write your story? How will you end your sentence? Storytelling is the essential human activity. It's something we all do. Storytelling seems to connect us in ways that are truly unforgettable. I once heard that stories build bridges, and when that story ends, the bridge between the teller and listener remain. I've never been able to forget my assigned stranger at the Museum of Tolerance, that little boy on that key card. The bridge between his story and mine are forever intertwined and will never be forgotten. What kind of story are you telling with the one life you have been given? You get one chance to write an amazing story, so write an amazing story. Don't waste this opportunity. History will tell your story, and it will either be a good one or a bad one. There's no in between. So what are you doing every single day to write a good story? How are you impacting the world? What kind of changes are you making? What causes are you fighting for? How are you using your voice, your impact, to make people's lives better? That's writing a good story. Look, here's the thing. An author doesn't write a story so she could put it on the shelf and never read it again. That story is written for the world to see, for the world to experience. So your life is meant for the world to experience. What story are you writing? And are you writing it well? Passion and Prestige Tribe. I'm going to end this episode with these powerful, powerful words. Chase your dreams until the dreams you chase become reality. Go change the world. And make sure that each and every day you are writing an amazing story. So now that you're part of the Passion and Prestige Tribe, I want to know what you think. I love hearing from my listeners. So if you wouldn't mind taking a screenshot of you listening to this podcast and tag us at Passion and Prestige on Instagram. And don't forget to go into your podcast app, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review and a 5-star rating. This helps us reach way more people. Passion and Prestige Tribe, thank you so much. I will see you next week, and remember, chase your dreams until the dreams you chased become reality. Go change the world.
They just wanna knock you off the top, but I ain't gonna drop till I say so. till I say so. 'Cause I say